Hey Tubesters, it's RN4 Song back to you with another video. Today we're going to be making another traditional recipe. This is basically it's a floor powder. You could use this as a cleaning floor powder, but it also brings in some protective elements. So in my mortar and pestle, I already have some salt and some baking soda. Salt, I forget exactly the order, but I know that one kills fleas and one kills the flea eggs. I believe it's the salt that kills the eggs and the baking soda kills the fleas. So this is good. I think it's also mites as well. So, but this is just always what we've traditionally used. We also put in camphor, so I'm gonna just use the rest of this. If you have like a camphor oil, you could use that as well, or even like the essential oil. And then just grind that up. You want this to be a fine powder. So that way it can be sprinkled out of the shaker. Normally I wouldn't use plastic, and unfortunately they only had the metal one available after I'd already bought this. So, but you want something kind of like this. It's like it was in the cooking like pots and pans aisle. I forget exactly what it is. I think it's like a sugar shaker or something like that. But you want something like that. You can also just make one by using like an old spice jar with the small holes in it, or you could like puncture holes in a lid or something like maybe like an oatmeal container or something like that. You could use that as well, or a peanut butter jar. Oh, I forgot to tell you, sorry, this is lavender. Just gonna add a spoon of that, because again, we want it to be fine, and this might not grind up perfectly fine, but it's gonna infuse in the powder. Again, you could use lavender oil, and this one's mint. We're just adding a spoon of that. Again, it's gonna infuse in the oil, or not in the oil, in the powder. And ideally you want to grind this up a good bit, so that way it does turn to as close to a powder as you can get it. Again, you can use essential oils to get that in here, especially in these modern times. They're a little more foldable than they used to be. But you can also just do a camphor, mint, and lavender infused oil, and you can put that in here as well. Just do a few drops so that way it doesn't get like cakey, but it's just in here. This is also to bring in, the lavender is going to bring like a peace of mind element, so you're bringing peace into the home. And then the mint is all about like open, free-flowing, positive, productive communication. It's this spearmint specifically, so it's going to be sweet talking. That's what we traditionally call it. It's to open communications to sweet talk. Now, and I know sweet talk kind of means something different to y'all, so that's why I was trying to avoid saying it, but I wanted to make sure you get the full concept of what we're saying. We don't sweet talk isn't like kissing your ass or blowing smoke up your ass. It's like that positive, genuine, good speech. guess is another way to say it. What did I do with the bag? Oh, and then you're gonna need your brick dust. This is Undefeated Castle brick dust from Reigersberg. I think that's in Austria. And you don't want a lot. You just want enough to tint the powder so it's in there, but not where it's like gonna like leave a mess, if you know what I mean. Do need a little more. It might be hard to see it tinted in here because I only had, like, the only regular salt I had was the Himalayan salt, so it's already got like a tint to it. There we go. And then we're going to put in some protection oil. Just a little bit. And once you add the oil, you definitely want it to you definitely want to be careful and like really mix it good. You want a more dry ratio than that wet ratio. You don't want any clumps. If it does get on the clumpy side, you can just like add some more of the powder, or you could even like let it sit out for a little bit. We traditionally would never do that, but if you're making your own recipe, you could try that out. You could also maybe put it in a dehydrator. We could like put a sheet of aluminum foil down, or like a cookie sheet or something, and you can try and dry it that way. We don't let this sit out for extended periods of time because we don't want ambient air touching it. There's a whole thing on it. It's like it's the same thing with our food. We don't want the ambient air, the atmospheric air, to be contaminating or get in there. Because, you know, like, even if you cleanse, you know, human beings, we go through various emotions or what have you. There's always the chance of like an argument or something being spewed out. You don't want that to get into your food, into your powders, and powders are pretty much always absorbent, but especially when it has salt in it. So we don't like leaving that out. So that's what it looks like. You see how it's a little colored? But it's not gonna like stain the floor or anything like that. And the camphor is pretty strong. Even though that camphor is on the old side, it still is pretty potent. It's not as potent as it would have been if it was fresh, but that's okay. It'll still get the job done. And no, it didn't fill it up exactly, but that's okay. This just gives it like shaking room. I do want to turn that around. And then that's your magical floor powder. Really simple and easy to make. Literally took maybe probably 15 minutes because I did grind the baking soda and salt before camera, but gets you exactly what you need. I might make some more. I don't know. I might just leave it as it is because I don't use floor powder that much because I only have like the one carpet. But anyway, now I'm rambling. If you make something similar, feel free to share it below. You can do a VR. If you do, just make sure to tag me in it so that way I can see it. Y'all know I'm all big about community, so I would love to see more videos. If you're not a video person, you can just put it in the comments as well. That's fine. If you make this one, let me know how it works for you. Yeah, and as always, abundant and eternal blessings. Mwah.